Huh. Good evening and salutations, my Beyond the Gates fans. Huh. Okay, I guess we'll start with Vanessa for a hot minute because I'm gonna be honest. She got on my last goddamn nerves. Okay, she really got on my last damn nerves. Okay, Doug finally got the cast off and was waiting for Vanessa to sit there and celebrate. But Vanessa was not there with Joey doing some sort of I don't know, opening or closing a house or something or whatever. And they go back to the diner and he's not there singing her praises. Oh, you did this, you did that, you dazzled them, da 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 da. Just really kind of landing on thick. There's a point where, he starts getting really flirtatious and stuff like that, and Doug gets there and Doug's like, oh, what's going on? You start the celebration without me? But he's pissed at this point. He's like, what are you doing? You were supposed to sit there and hang, oh, I forgot, business and everything like that. Oh, business. Okay, sure. But she invites Joey to sit there and stay, or Doug to sit there and stay. And Doug's like, nah, you know what? Listen, three's a crowd. And he just leaves. He leaves and he leaves angry, right? And I guess he goes back to the hospital or whatever. There's a point where Joey's like, listen, I understand if we gotta go and see him or whatever. And she's like, I don't want to. And then the commercial break starts. I'm like, your husband just walked out because he saw you not, hanging out with another man or whatever. And at first I was like, you're not going to leave? But she was like, I don't want to leave, but I probably should. Okay. She runs into Ted and she starts going off on him. And I'm like, you hypocritical piece of garbage. Like, are you kidding me for a hot minute? Don't get me wrong. What Ted did was wrong, and I understand the whole ride or die thing with your friends and everything like that. Girl, you've been literally. I'm not even going to sit there and sugarcoat this. You've been practically sitting there fucking half the goddamn town. And yet, you have the audacity to sit there and start talking about how he's a cheater, he does this and he does that. Girl, you're out there sitting there ordering male prostitutes. The fact that you can even open up your mouth and start coming at him sideways, like you don't got a list of dirty shit that you've been doing probably for years, is beyond me, right? Like it just, I literally sat there was like, and the fact that Ted actually sat there and took that shit was just amazing, right? Because honestly, to tell you the truth, if I was Ted, I'm like, hey, listen, I did that, right? But you are not one to sit there and talk. Given your goddamn track record, you are the last person to be lashing out at anyone about infidelity or anything like that. Like, girl, you done lost your goddamn mind. We got that going on. Listen, this show is starting to kind of vex me in a sense, right? So in the beginning, it was the poor Danny show. Danny, 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 Danny. Danny's this, Danny's that. It got to a point where it was just like it just started to get annoying. Then they toned back on the Danny. They stopped doing the whole, oh, we should feel sorry for Danny because of this. Danny's lashing out. Danny's constantly crying. They toned back down on that. And it made Danny somewhat more reasonable and stopped constantly talking about Bill. Great. We're starting to have a Leslie problem now because Leslie is still snippy giving me the same vibes, that same overacting, monologue like a DC villain as Jordan Howard, right? I don't know what their conversation was at this point between Leslie and Ted because it just kept going. I felt like I was getting a migraine, And ultimately, when she comes out, well, one, she was meant to just stealing a bunch of shit. And then she literally sat there and said, because, Ted figured it out. Ted was like, you're the person that ran, let Laura off the road. He was like, I'm going to stop you. And so what Leslie does is Leslie's like, hey, listen, I will practically point the finger at Eva and make Eva sit there and pay for this whole shit. But then not that long ago, she's talking about, oh, well, I might have kicked her out the house, but I still love her. I'm like, you're. And the thing is, the scenes just get worse. The scenes just get so much worse because when Ted leaves, or when she finally leaves, she goes back to her house. She starts playing dress up and talking to herself in the mirror. And I'm just like, okay. It was just such an obnoxious and over the top and annoying ass scene. I'm like, I can start to understand why some people are looking at this show and being like, yeah, this shit isn't for me. Then you have the whole Anita and Tracy thing. And let me tell you something about Tracy that it kind of vexed me about her, right? Because in the beginning, they're hanging out, they're chilling, they're smiling, and they're laughing, and they're just kind of reminiscing. And she's been over there for like maybe, 2 days or whatever, right? Today, she decided, let me sit there and show you the other version of myself, practically just being Two-Faced. And she started off with the whole money thing, like, oh, it must be really nice, you having servants and this, that, and the third. And, I seen how this, piano is like really expensive and stuff like that. And, we can never sit there and afford something like this, but look at you now. And it was just like these little petty, snide fucking comments after a while. I was just like, huh, okay. I see your true colors are starting that they're starting to come out now. And ultimately, what it came down to is that she was upset with her for leaving. She was upset with her for leaving. She was upset with her for being ruthless. And when she left at the worst possible time. And, she was getting more spotlight than anybody else. And people felt like, even when she did her own thing, people was like, oh, where's Anita at? Where's Anita? I was like, so ultimately what you're saying is that you are jealous and you are petty, right? And Anita, you know what? This is probably the only time that I can sit there and say that I liked Anita in that scene because I generally don't care about her and Vernon, and I get that they're necessary because they're for the older generation, right? Okay, that's cool. But she was like, you know what? Yes, I did this for myself. Yes, I love for myself. Yes, I sat there and when that producer wanted me, I did it. I did it. I took care of myself. And I'm like, you know what? You shouldn't have to sit there and apologize. Yeah, it sucked that, shit don't work out. But, I mean, hell, did Justin Timberlake sit there and constantly apologize to, the rest of the band, whatever their names were? No. Like, shit happens. You have to sit there and move on. And I think the issue with me was that for like 2 days, just sitting there smiling and hugging and all the other stuff. And she was finally like, she showed her true colors and I needed to stop apologizing. Like, yo, so I like that scene. I'm pretty sure. Don't get wrong. I'm pretty sure Anita's going to do something that's going to be like, oh, here we go again. Um, Martin continues to sit there and be a shitty husband. Let's just be real. There's a point where he comes in and he's trying to be all sexy, whatever, to Smitty or whatever, these innuendos or whatever. But then Smitty was like, I want to talk. And Martin's like, I got a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff like that. I'm getting pushed back and this, that, and the third. And Smitty was like, whoa, you just doing this whole little innuendo thing 1 minute. You can't give me 10 minutes to sit there and talk. Now, Verna comes over and Martin's like, at some point, he goes upstairs. He comes back downstairs and Smitty wants to talk. Martin's like, uh, oh, there's a point where Smitty's like, how about we go and get something to eat so we can sit there and talk. And I really want to sit there and talk to you. And Mark's like, so, fam, y'all want to sit there and go out and get something to eat? Hmm? You want to do it? My treat? All right, let's go to Orphan Jeans. Right? Somebody's like, really? They get there, right? Sam. Sam, Samantha. I mean, there's points where, I forgot to sit there and talk about Vernon giving his history lesson about what he had to go through back in the day. Right? So he tells his story, whatever, but eventually they go out, and there's a point where I think Martin or Vernon says something to Doug, and like, oh, how you doing, or whatever. He's like, oh, I'm not good, or some smart answer, or whatever. And they sit at the booth, and they're kind of watching Vanessa, and they're all getting this vibe, like, yeah, we can see why Doug is upset with the way that Vanessa keeps practically having eye sex with Joey. I didn't feel like dropping another F bomb, but you know what I'm gonna say. Then there's a point where Samantha says something like, "Oh, no capping" or whatever, and I'm just like, ugh, yeah, like here we go with that forced slang or whatever, and it's just the way she did it. It was just like it was so goddamn cringe. It was so cringe. It was like no cap or something. It was like, please stop, like please stop. Um. Oh, and then there's a really goofy part where Vanessa, not Vanessa, Leslie puts on a Nicole wig. And it was kind of funny for like the first few seconds. And then it was just like, oh yeah, yeah, this is really annoying. At first I looked, I was like, oh wow, that was really odd. But then I just remembered that, but again, this is one of those things where it's like, Ted, this is why you got to be careful when you're messing with people's emotions because you don't know what's going on with them. She might be easy on the eyes, but her brain, she got she got problems. Okay, she got some real. If you are talking to yourself in a mirror and you're putting on different wigs and shit, you got mental health problems. Oh, and then there's parts where Shanice is not there talking, and I just kind of was like, oh, here we go again. I just don't care. I think that's about it. I mean, like I said, there's a certain part where Ted is not there talking to Shanice about the documentary and how she looks or whatever, but honestly, to tell you the truth, it's not even really worth talking about. This episode was okay. I would sit there and say, um, that's pretty much all I got for this. If I missed anything, write in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. We'll sit there and talk more about this tonight, as well as all the other 5 soaps. And I'll see you in the next video.